and final segment of Heart Talk for today. For those of you just tuning in, Heart Talk is a portion of our show where we turn the music down. Or we still have some good music playing in the background, as you can see. But we allow ourselves to chat. This is the talk portion of our show, and we renew our minds and restore our hearts. Today we are talking about symptoms. Symptoms in light of my new book that's being released, and it's entitled Help Save Me from My Broken Heart, Your Journey to Living and Loving Again. It takes you through the process of a divine heart transplant. We know that people can have a bad heart in real life, so they get a heart transplant often when their heart is so damaged that it can't be repaired. And that's where many of us are emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So I thought it would be fit for us to go through a divine heart transplant process. I am a coach, and in my coaching practice, I've worked with many different women, and some men, and I've realized that we really can't build a new life and be able to live it to the fullness if our current hearts aren't operating to the full capacity. And that's the same in real life. So this book helps you get to the point where if your heart is not working right, if you're experiencing some of these symptoms we've been talking about today, you may need to go and see the surgeon. That surgeon is Jesus Christ. Well, is my heavenly Father. The donor is Jesus Christ. That's why you know you can depend on this new heart that's coming, because this heart can't fail on you, nor will it reject you like a heart really can in a real life heart transplant. So get anchored and connected to this process, because as we go through this journey on the show, on our YouTube page, The Heart Connections, make sure you subscribe and you like our videos. As we go through this journey, you will start to see some of the symptoms, the diseases that you've been dealing with exposed, those diseases in your heart that have been limiting your full capacity of living, and you will begin to get a new lease on life. And many people who experience heart disease and heart trouble find themselves very tired and worn out because their hearts can't pump to capacity. Can you relate to that? Have you ever been in a relationship or a certain circumstance in your life and you're just tired or spent? You might be in that situation right now. That's why this process, this transplant process, is so important. And it's a spiritual thing. I am not a cardiologist, nor am I claiming to be a heart professional. My background is in healthcare. However, I just did the research. I read the books. I took some anatomy classes. I knew a lot of these things, and I just really applied these things to our spiritual lives and our intellectual lives and our emotional lives. So it's just something to keep in mind. And you can check it out and pre-order your copies at heartconnections.bigcartel.com. So let's talk some more about these symptoms. So we talked about at the 10:30 hour, we talked about some symptoms that you may have divine heart trouble, divine heart disease, and maybe in need of a divine heart transplant. If you're always experiencing broken romantic relationships or any relationships of that matter, if you are the type of person that finds yourself saying things like, there are no good men out here, there are no good women out here, everybody's just out to get you. If you have that mentality, that is a sign that you may need to see the surgeon and have a consultation and consider a heart transplant divinely. Another sign, uncontrollable anger, allowing people to take advantage of you, addiction, health issues. Those are all symptoms that you may need to undergo a divine heart transplant. Anytime you find yourself inundated with any of these feelings, if these indicators are constantly going off in your life, this may be a sign that you need a heart transplant of divine nature. I'm going to get a heart doctor to come in here and talk with us. I think that'll be fitting, so be on the lookout for that. I'm working on it. I know of a few people I have in mind, but I'm going to talk to someone about coming on and sharing more with us. So let's get into some new symptoms. We talked about comparison and finger pointing at the 11:30 hour. So the 12:30 hour, and this is our last heart talk for today because we have a guest coming up at 1:30. So make sure you stick around for that. Some symptoms that you may need a divine heart transplant. Having pity parties all the time. Are you the type of person that is always in a situation where you find yourself feeling sorry for yourself? I don't ever have anybody to look out for me. Nobody cares about me. Nobody wants to take the time with me. Nobody wants to invest in me. People buy her gifts for her birthday. Why don't they buy me gifts for my birthday? People go to her birthday parties. Why don't they come to my birthday parties? People come and support her. Why don't they come and support me? Comparison, some, but just the whole idea of you feeling sorry for yourself, you feeling helpless, and feeling like you can't do anything, because that's a lie. And many of us have grown accustomed to living like that. We saw people respond like that, and we also saw how they got many people to respond to them. My girl LJ just gave me a quote. She said, her bishop said to her one time, you can get a real high out of feeling real low. Come on, somebody. You can get a real high out of feeling real low. So pity parties are a sign that you have some heart things going on. There are some things about you that need to be addressed. You have a distorted image of who you are that it needs to be corrected. It needs to be clarified. Those are all of the things that you go through when you go through a divine heart transplant. You are literally letting go of those old ideas and thoughts about yourself. You are unlearning bad habits to relearn new habits. You're letting go dead things to take on life. So pity parties won't work. And another thing that won't work, here's another symptom: taking offense. I did talk about people that go 0 to 100 real quick, but they get very angry. I know that's some jargon and some slang. Some of you may not know what that means, but that's just, in other words, somebody who you can say one thing to them and they can be laughing and smiling, and you say one word and they're ready to fight you. That's 0 to 100 real quick. Now, taking offense doesn't necessarily mean that you have uncontrollable anger that's external. If you're someone who easily takes offense, then people cannot be themselves around you. And if people can't be themselves around you, that means that you can't be yourself with yourself. So if you can't be yourself with yourself, you are never going to be satisfied, nor can you be pleased. Things are always going to upset you. Things are always going to offend you. You always have to defend yourself. You always have to speak up for yourself. You always have to let someone know where you stand because they're trying to play you, or they're trying to be condescending, or they're being sarcastic, and you feel like you have to put them in their place, or you're very sensitive. I can't say certain things to you. Here in Charleston, guys, I don't know what is going on. Okay, guys. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. We're still here. Excuse the technical difficulties. I'm letting you guys know what I have going on here. But I don't know. Some of my songs are like not in cue. Maybe it's operational error. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm still learning. I told y'all to pray for me. But I was getting ready to give you guys an example, and I just got distracted. I was talking about easily taking offense. It'll come back. But in other words, let me just keep rolling with the flow. Maybe that was a sign that it was time to come to an end. I don't know, but let's not take offense. Let's be honest about where we are. If you're the type, this is the example I'm going to use, and we're going to get into our next song, because when we address these symptoms and we start to work through them, they do elevate us and they take us higher. We get to a better place of living in us. So Lettucey is going to help us with that in a minute, but I want you to think about this. Here in Charleston, we use a slang, and if somebody is funny or makes us laugh, or they just do something that's out of the norm, we'll say something like, their head is bad. We will tell, like, if I do something funny and I make my friends laugh, they might say, girl, your head is bad. And it's funny, it's endearing, it's nothing to be offended by. It's just saying, it's like another way of saying you're silly or you're funny. But there was a time that someone that I love very dearly they said something funny that made me laugh, and I was like, oh my gosh, your head is so bad. My head is not bad. There's nothing wrong with me. Why would you say something like that? And I was like, hold up, excuse me. I actually was complimenting you, but I was complimenting them. And before she even had a chance to clarify what I was trying to say, she took offense. And it shifted the whole mood of the conversation. And it also made me take pause when I think about spending time with her and letting my guard down with her, because I don't know what to say. I don't know how she's going to react. And so you may have situations like that in your life. You wonder why people are so guarded or they're holding themselves back. But I want you to be careful and think about, how do you respond to them? Are you someone that's predictable, or are you very unpredictable? Because if you're the type of person that's always on a pity party, or your emotions are up and